Hey, David, what do you think of Darren Brown?
I love him. I think he's incredible. He's a great entertainer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
How much is
keep in
real?
mind,
How much is fake? How much is staged?
I suspect he's a magician. He's an entertainer. So keep that in mind.
Got it.
But he's also a really good hypnotist,
Yep.
Yeah.
and he will set up a lot of the things that he's done. I'm confident are pretty real.
Yeah.
Back in the late 90s, he had a couple people rob a bank or an armored car. Innocent people. That's a video you could watch.
Yeah.
And most of them did it. And he set up all the triggers. He controlled the entire environment.
Wow.
One person
yeah.
didn't. And then he had the one called the push, where he convinced 3 out of 4 people to push someone off a ledge.
Yeah.
And he did all of the really most painful coercion type of behaviors to it.
Yeah. Yeah. At some point, it's not hypnotism.
Wow.
He's just manipulating. It is like it's a
Right.
gaslighting,
Right.
and that's what good mentalism. I feel like is actually just like isn't good mentalism just a form of conversational manipulation? Like where like when someone looks like they're doing a magic trick, really they've been coming into the conversation, knowing how to get information out of you, and then they just kind of repeat it back, right? Like a good psychic. Is that mentalism?
Mentalism is magic trickery. I mean, there are aspects of it that demand a lot of psychology. Certainly, Darren Brown knows these,
Yeah.
and he's really good at NLP. I saw him once change someone's perception so that what was red became yellow, and she recognized a red car as being yellow
That's
for at least a little
so
while.
weird.
It is weird, and it doesn't work with everybody
Yeah.
because it's done conversationally. Some people are a lot more easy to influence in that way, and I suspect strongly that he trains people ahead of time. He's worked with them before. They are probably really good hypnosis subjects. They probably think he is incredibly
Oh.
cool and admire him a lot.
Oh.
So they're wanting already to be successful, and because of the
Babaji students.
yeah. If keep in mind, you can influence somebody as long as they think you are really cool.
It's like a
Yeah.
susceptible thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're within your sphere of influence. So he knows
Yeah.
them probably, but the hypnosis is probably real, but he already
Yeah.
knew that they were pretty susceptible and stuff. Because I've always wondered that. I see some of these shows of his. I'm a really big fan of him. I see some of these shows where he's like doing these mentalism tricks, and I cannot figure this stuff out. It just blows my mind.
Is that Piers
He'll-
Morgan?
No, that's James Corden. It's one of the
Oh.
10,000 late night hosts.
That is, most of his mentalism tricks like that are, you have to study magic for a couple of years and you'll learn most of this. There are
I
some
do feel
really
like,
good
yeah.
magic tricks out there, but they're tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they are effects. Some of the stuff he does is, and there are plenty of really good mentalists out there. But some of the stuff he does is hypnosis. Most of the trickery stuff is trickery.
Yeah. Like classic magic tricks, you learn all the tricks and then it is like comedy or something. It is like another little art form. It's its own game, and you learn all the classics and then you come up with this like I have this magical trick that's gonna get everyone. They'll never suspect it or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, no, people have been doing it forever too.
I have a question. Using your knowledge of kind of mind control, brain control tactics, what can our audience know to help defend themselves against the tactics of gurus where they're trying to elevate themselves as some hip authority and I'm a billionaire, millionaire, whatever. And that's how a lot of people get sucked in. The way they talk to me about it, they go, I don't know what I was thinking buying this course. I never normally would buy it.
Yeah.
And it almost reminds me a little bit of the mind control. So why don't you give us, as a hypnotist, tell us what's maybe going on behind the scenes that most people don't see.
Well, let me give you some credit first of all.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to give you some credit because you have revealed a whole lot of stuff. The fellow who did Contrapreneur,
Mike Winnett.
Mike
Yeah.
Winnett. Oh, man.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He reveals the process really well. It's all about getting you in an environment with peer pressure, people that you feel similar to doing the same thing. And if people around you are excited, you're going to start to feel excited.
Yeah.
it's doing yes sets. It's agreeing to raise your hand when the guy says raise your hand.
Yeah. Everyone in the audience, say yes right now if you're not going to join a cult. See, we're like a counterforce to that.
Say yes
Yeah,
if you're going to
yeah.
subscribe, like, and share the drip.
Say yes.
Say
Yes.
yes in
Type a
chat,
yes in
please.
there.
Say yes, please.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And on top of that, I think, first of all, there's always a point in your life where you're susceptible to this.
Yeah.
And some points more than others. You have to be aware of that. Correct. People join cults not because someone says, hey, join a cult with me. It's because they're feeling influenced, they're feeling touched, they're feeling moved in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And how you can prevent that is just be aware of it mostly. It's mostly through education, the stuff like you're doing, like Mike Gwinnett is doing. And like the Entrepreneur Bingo. Mm-hmm. That's such great stuff. Learn the tactics, so when you recognize it, you sort of smile and go, nice. Yeah.
I just put up 2 videos as well called "Cult Secrets Revealed," where I reveal all of their. I'll send them to you. I haven't sent them to you yet. I got to.
Good. Do I want to see it?
I'd love to hear your thoughts. If
post them on my Facebook page on Mind Control Publishing. So.
Amazing. Okay, cool.
The fellow I was talking about,
Mike Gwinnett?
Yeah. Marshall Silver.
Okay.
Part of his training is he creates this context of what's called Satori, and he describes Satori as being in the moment. What being in the moment means is not thinking about what the guy's saying, but just being aware of it. Yeah.
Come on. Just twisting the good teachings. That's a Zen teaching, Satori. Satori's incredible.
So he wants you to be in the moment. Don't be in the past where you think about the mistakes you used to make. Don't be in the future where you start to realize the consequences of what you're doing right now. Classic. Be in the moment and learn. He also has another thing, says you've got to be able to respond very quickly when an opportunity comes up. So I'm going to do something throughout the whole workshop here. When I stand up and snap my fingers, I need you to stand up, turn around once and snap your fingers.
Wow, that is so cult. That's so cult,
weird, dude.
And he does that.
Why doesn't he add like, and you are my Bhagwan Babaji? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add that.
That's when he gets you. Mm-hmm. But here's the funny thing is non-hypnotists have taken this and they've turned it into the guru thing of like, hey guys, I need you to shout 10x or whatever. I need you to jump in the air. And then they get people, it's because it's not, the hypnotist thing is like the snap, it's like the trigger. Their thing is, we don't want to do it because we don't want to make it obvious what we're doing. That would be a little weird. I mean, the more you do this, the more people start to become suspicious, I feel like a little bit.
Yeah. Right.
Instead, it's, hey, everyone, they'll even do this in webinars. They'll go, get a pen, get a paper, write this in the chat, do this. And they have you following these commands so that when they say, look, guys, we need you to take action now. Take action now. Buy it now.
Right.
Then you go, oh, well, I guess I've been following what this guy's been saying all along. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to do it. And like you said, they try to like ladder you up into that thing. Yeah.
There is, you're familiar with the, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's the guy who set up the test where you shock somebody who's not learning something.
Milgram?
Yeah, Milgram.
Milgram experiment. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Milgram, essentially, in this experiment, he had someone come in thinking he was part of an experiment to teach someone else something. Every time the person got it wrong, he would electrocute him. Mm-hmm. And the electricity got more and more intense up to the point of death. About 60% of the people would go all the way to that point of death.
Yeah.
And the only thing that kept them doing that was some undergraduate in a gray lab coat saying, please continue. The experiment is important. Now keep that in mind. The only thing that is required for someone to commit murder is some guy in a lab coat.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
An authority, but that's the key thing is it's not some Joe Blow. It's somebody that people are looking up to. Yeah. And this is why I say you guys need to realize that these gurus, they're just people. Once you realize it's just a dude selling you something. It's just a car. It's a glorified car salesman, and their car is success. They want to give you the vehicle, but they're a car salesman. Once you realize that, you're going to see them differently in a way that's going to let you level it out. Because that's what Grant Cardone calls altitude. He goes, oh, I got all this altitude with somebody. Like I can just come in and blow them away because I'm Grant Cardone. No, you're just a dude.
Yeah.
You're just a guy, and it's fine.
Speaking of Milgram, what Milgram talked about was there's a point where you no longer become your own free will. You become an agent of someone else's will. He referred to that as the agentic state, in which you are simply a vehicle for someone else. And that is exactly what cults and military commands do. I mean, they do it for a purpose, but there's a point where you've seen the cult leaders tell people to do crazy things. They are totally in this agentic state. Now, let's pause for a moment. As a hypnotist, yes, I use the agentic state. I tell people I'm going to give you instructions, and you need to do this thing in your mind. And if you do it, you will get a result. And that's all I really want to do.
You're saying there can be a positive element, but obviously it's clearly ripe for ripe for abuse. Obviously, look, I fell into this. Do you guys know about Heaven's Gate?
Oh yeah.
This is something I was.
What do you mean you fell into it? Like, did you join?
No, I didn't join. No,
you just watched a documentary.
I just found one day I just found the initiation tape. I was like, what the heck is this? So this is just the other day, and this guy's talking about all this crazy stuff, but
Marshall Applewhite.
This guy is a master brainwasher.
Yeah.
Because they have what's called an exit video, where it's before they all commit mass suicide, because this guy has told them that planet's going to get recycled and we gotta commit suicide to get on the ship or whatever. He recorded everything, which is fascinating. And this is like a videotape of the agentic state, you might say, because here are all these people all following this Applewhite dude who's clearly out of his mind.
Oh yeah.
But
psycho.
Look at how he's got himself on the projector, where he's just like,
oh, I like that. I'm gonna do that.
That's hot. But
the triple.
But yeah, look at these guys, and these guys are all watching, and it's very interesting.
Yeah. Does it work? Like, I mean, what? So this works in controlling someone. In behavior change, does hitting someone, does hurting them, is that gonna fix it? Like, is there that Pavlov's dog fix to someone? Can it work as far as yeah, not the adjacent technique. I don't know. The adjacent technique I get, but I'm talking about does hitting someone affect their behavior? Because a lot of people do it.
Well,
I'm talking about even yesterday.
First and foremost, does hurting, you mean physically contacting them with the back of your hand, help them?
I'm talking about physically intimidating, hurting someone. Like, does positive behavior change come out of it? Because a lot of them do it.
It gets a result.
It does.
Now, if the person who is being manipulated in that way agrees that's the result I came here for, then you could say it is beneficial. But I don't think it's ethical.
Okay, cool. Yeah, good.
I would. There are times when someone comes to me to stop smoking, and maybe it's a little challenging the first couple of times. So I'll ask them, okay, I can make you puke at the thought of smoking. I can make the knot in your stomach grow so uncomfortable you wouldn't want to smoke. Do you want that? I ask them, and I be very overt about it.
Because it is an ethical dilemma. I mean, because you are kind of planting the seed in there. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Now, there are hypnotists who that's their go-to. They don't even ask. They just make you feel shame or guilt or nausea or whatever,
They just install like a psycho in your head. They just install someone in your head to be like, I hate smoking, and you
I knew a hypnotist who first of all, he knew the hypnosis process. He'd never been hypnotized, but he helped groups of people quit smoking.
Wow.
And what he would do is have them recall the most guilty, shameful moment in their childhood where they did the most worst and terrible thing. link that to smoking.
Yeah.
That's
Weird.
terrible. You know?
That is really terrible.
What about
Yeah.
the poo in the
They
pizza
quit.
technique? Do you ever
What?
try like a poo in the pizza technique?
Oh,
I
that
swear to
Tony-
God, I've seen someone do that.
Amish
Can't find it.
swears Tony Robbins did that, and
I-
then we looked it up, and he definitely did not do
It
that.
was not that, but it was like the pizza's gross.
It
He
was
basically
a
brainwashed someone
weird
into thinking-
hypnosis technique, though. It was like
Yeah.
trying to link it.
I'm a scammer. I'm a scammer. Gonna rip you off, take you down.